Good morning, beautiful souls. I am so excited to watch the birds flying, the seagulls hanging out at Kaibay Beach, and there's an eagle. I found 4 eagles yesterday, and it was so fascinating because the eagle was actually eating a duck, and it's kind of gross to see, but I rarely see that happening. So I was watching the whole time, and it reminded me of carnivores, right? People are eating meat, and how we can be conscious of these animals have lives like us. Not to say that plants have no life. Plants are living beings too. But I feel like the consciousness of eating meat and animals, when they were being butchered or killed, they are, grasping for life, like fear of death. And so those emotions, those are emotional codes that we ingest in our system. I have nothing against people who are not practicing, vegetarianism, right? Because it is your own choice, your behavior. And here are the 2 eagles dancing. I see them, it's so beautiful. There's the big eagle right there. Right there. So beautiful to be in the presence of the birds. It mirrors to you freedom. Freedom from existing chaos. Separation from love, from creation. So this morning I woke up around 5 a.m. You see, when there's a divine intervention, like wisdom trying to knock on my mind, on my door, I have no choice. I really have to just wake up and turn on the computer channel, because it's I feel these channelings are so sacred, and that I have a divine agreement that I will manifest these words of vibration to help human consciousness reverberate this love of God. God, source, universe, however you say, the creation, the source of all that is. The more we become conscious of our words, our vibration, the more we are in sync, in harmony, in peace and divine perfection. And the divine perfection is the essence of love. So when we're encountering challenges, chaos, kind of like this COVID pandemic, these are signs. These are the signs of times. And eons of lifetimes in ancient civilizations, in Atlantis, Lemuria, we had created this timeline. We coexist with what's happening in our consciousness. And in those ancient timeline, we had sunk into the depth of this earth, our Mother Earth. because we have distracted the law of love. And the law of love, while I'm reading Unveiled Mysteries by Godfrey Ray King, the law of love is co-creating with you to create harmonious, peaceful, and perfection. What is perfection? Perfection is bliss. Perfection has nothing to do with your mind. It has something to do with your heart. How you feel for others, with kindness, humility, and compassion. So the writings today, I wasn't sure who it was coming from, and at the end it was the infinite love of the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother. Just like yesterday, we celebrated the International Women's Day. It actually has a deeper meaning than the form of being a woman. It has something to do with creation, the infinite creation of the Divine Mother. And we are rising up to this collective. We are being called to express our divine essence, our love for humanity, our service for others. How we can participate as a conscious creator, co-creator with divine grace. Just like these beautiful seagulls, they coexist in harmonious community by being, flowing, enjoying who they are, being free from attachments and ego. My soul brother and I were having this spiritual conversation. We love going deep to our spirituality, to the core of our truth. We always talk about integrity, discernment, boundaries, all of these things that friendships sometimes don't go, because the depth and intimacy of relationship and friendships are important to your evolution. So we touch on ego today, and it was brought to our attention that, you know, when you are born, you are coming from nothing. You are coming from the uterus, like the surrounded by liquid, vibrating, floating in vibration to your mother's mental and emotional thoughts in relation to your karma, your past lives. So your soul choosing to incarnate in this material world, the mother, the matter. So as an infant waking up you're seeing this world of form, and it mirrors to you to identify. So the infants started identifying with the form, and it forms the ego. So ego is like a self-identity, and it's not your higher self, it is your identification to the world. To give you a sense of belonging to the world. But truly, you're not of this world. So as you progress, surrounded by your parents, your mentors, and for me, I came from a huge tribe of 10. And my mother used to, she was a chef, and she took care of my nieces and her nieces and nephews, my cousins, and they were working with her for the restaurant. So I grew up seeing this community in our own home. It's like 25 people in the house, watching each one of them, their characters, their behavior. I became an observer of personalities. So as a child, I was growing up with full open wide eyes, and in nature, by the ocean. I wouldn't sleep without looking at the stars, the constellations, because these are my beautiful playmates, the stars, the ocean. And right now there's the sound of a plane. That sound that's vibrating in our video. So bear with me. So in that observation as a child, I developed a sense of understanding. That each one of us has this template, an archetypal template. That's kind of regulating your ways of reactions on how you see things and how you see life, and how you become stuck in the old programming. And right now is the new template for freedom. Like these birds that are flying away so beautifully, in love with nature, in sync with nature. This is freedom. And as I grew bigger, stronger, I was always having this silence in the evening, studying, contemplating, dedicating to Mother Mary. I always say the rosary every day, and I kept the rosary under my pillow that glows in the dark. And I have that affinity with her love. And my real name is actually Maria Teresa. But with that name, I was always denying, because I had this thought in my head that that name is so sacred, and it feels like it's a very high expectations responsibility for others. You know, it's so pure that I was humbly denying that name, Maria Teresa. So many times I tried to change the name. So I grew up as a child always changing my name. I didn't want to be a Catholic saint. All I want is my unique way, my freedom. So one of the core values in this incarnation is freedom. Freedom from others' expectations or opinions about me. Freedom from the mundane. Freedom from attachments. And my core relationship is with the divine. It's with the creation, and that I would see things with love. Even the dark night, even the people that hurt me, I would send them compassion, because that's the true spirituality that I know. When you're able to forgive and surrender their incapacity to love, because people are ignorant. They're ignorant of their intention, action, thoughts, and words. And that always gonna be your imprint in your old blueprints. If you don't rewire yourself, if you don't elevate and transform into a higher frequency, which is living in bliss with nature, with love, with compassion. So the mother had spoken to do not be dissuaded with other people's stuff. Do not be frustrated with others. You have to remain vigilant, be still in your relationships. Always see others with love, so you can shift. You can be at one with your authentic self. And so today I offer this retreat that our collective will be in tune with the strongest force of the universe. Here we're gonna see a plane. I feel like it's going to lift up, and we're going to catch this plane if he passes this way. Don't you miss having travels, flights? I miss flying, but for now it's grounding, connecting to nature and what I have here in Vancouver. And I'm so grateful for all the grace, the divine connections that I have with my soul sisters, soul brothers. This is actually the gift and the treasures that we have. If we can co-create relationships that are in depth, in intimacy, these are what's important. Like in your final death in the physical form, you will be, if you're given the time, you will be reviewing all these relationships that you have built. But the most important relationship is your relationship with God, the source, the universe. Because that is the creation, why you're here. So while you're alive, you want to establish a strong foundation of your soul, a clear blueprint destined to be a master. We are here as ascended future masters. Like these little seagulls, these are babies. They're so adorable, so tiny, and learning how to fly from their mothers. So these generations that we are in, I'm 57, another flight. So the grandmothers, we are the grandmothers. We are being called to express and lead our youth, our generations, for the future mastery and our soul's ascension. So, the mother Yemaya, the mother of the universal energy, this ocean of love. I was here last year thanking Yemaya, thanking my son Theo for the collective awakening when I published the book. So today I am appreciating, I am humbled by this gift of the Divine Mother. A lot of people do not have that intimacy with their mothers, and it's a very difficult disposition when you can't feel love from your mother. So in that sense, you can be a mother to yourself. Adapt yourself. I've also been writing recently about adoption, and that's one of my blueprints in this incarnation is adoption. When I gave my son Matt for adoption to my brother, you can never judge someone that had given their child for adoption, because you don't understand the depth of their story, the depth of their being. So adoption in my story was a gift of love. As when I was 15, I almost died from abortion. And this abortion was against my will. So my brother and sister almost kidnapped me, right? Like they took me out of the house and took me to an abortionist. And that was the most traumatic physical event of my life, because I lost a lot of blood, and my beautiful soul brother, my eldest brother who had passed away already, had saved my life. He was carrying me in the street of Pasay, Philippines, Pasay City, looking for taxi. He wrapped me in blankets and carried me running in the streets, trying to save my life. But they took me back to that clinic, to the abortion's home, and she started scraping my uterus. She performed DNC without anesthesia. It was so painful that I left my body. You see, in this incarnation, my mastery is being out of my body when I go through trauma or pain. So I was out of my body looking at this horrific experience. And the woman that performs this DNC said, "You're the only one that didn't cry in pain." Needless does she know that I was dead inside. My consciousness, my soul had left. This is the pain of a mother who had lost her child. I was in anger and depression that I didn't come out of my room for a month. I was 15, lost in despair, in anger of my own family. I wanted to kill myself. I found a crucifix and I wanted to kill myself, but I couldn't. I was with God. So in the depth of the darkness, I was with the brightest light. Conversations with God, opening my heart, my pain, my life. And out of the blue, here comes my brother. His name's Michael. And he's like my Archangel Michael. He got me out of that room, took me back to the church, and showing me off to the community that had shamed me. I was the gossip of the town. The humiliation, the shame, and pain. And I gained my strength. So for all women that had suffered in shame, guilt, and pain, there is nothing to be ashamed of. We are experiencing the pain of creation. When we painfully separate ourselves from God and love. And as my life moved on, I got pregnant. And I told God that I'm going to make this as a secret, a bond between me and my son, not to allow my family to kill my child again. So it was an atonement for the sins of my ancestors, my family. and I atoned Matt, Anthony, to God. And because of my ambition, and I didn't want to get married at 19, I dedicated my son to my brother, Marty, who didn't have a child for 10 years of marriage. And I gave my son, Matt, after 2 months of his birth. And there's no day that I didn't cry, because I know I'm giving up a child, thinking of his wealth that I won't be able to provide. I didn't have that strength and support that I could provide a child. And in giving up Matt, I remember my devotion to Mother Teresa. One of my favorite saints is Mother Teresa of Kolkata, India, because of her compassion for the sick, the poor. I was dedicating my life, and I said to her to give me a someone that would love me for who I am. And after I gave my son Matt here in Canada, I met my husband to be. It was destined. We were married after a few months, and I moved from Los Angeles to Vancouver. And I got pregnant with Theo and had my 3 children, Tiffany and Tristan. The blessings of this painful, wounded soul are my children, the treasures that I've learned, the lessons that I continue to learn are from them. So treasure your children. These are actually the most important part of your life, the diamonds of your life, your relationships. What I learned from adoption is that the giving of oneself with the intention, with the pure intention of love, will bring you a full circle in life. You will receive a full circle from the gift that you have given from this child. We have no control over things, but we totally surrender to what is. And by letting go of judgments from others who are suffering, we are able to see beyond their actions. And that what matters is their intention with their life and their relationships with God. And that's not our business. Our business is to take care of our own intention, of our own life, of our own relationship with God, source, universe, creation, that we will vibrate in compassion and love, that we will respect, be intimate with the Divine Mother. So your sacral chakra, this sacred sexuality, is a sacred temple. When we allow a soul to intermingle with our energies, to unify, to reach this tantric, climactic, orgasmic explosion, with the divine. So relationships does not need label, does not need gender, does not need race. Sexuality is sacred, an intimate intermingling of your light body that co-create the existence of divine cosmic orgasm. And if you can purify your intention why you have sexual energies with another soul, if you can see that as a relationship with your sacred divine self, you're able to release and let go of any shame and old imprints of your sacral chakra. And so today, I dedicate this story of my life to all the women who had suffered in shame and guilt, in abortion, in adoption, in abandonment, that we may find peace in all creations, harmony, and perfection of our journeys. Thank you so much for listening and have a blessed day. Namaste.